To our next level 1 tables, equations and graphs video. We're talking about parabolic functions now, and in this video we're going to talk about drawing a graph from a rule. So we know a quadratic is an expression that has the highest power of x to the power of 2 or x squared. Quadratics produce a graph which we call a parabola, and we introduced these things in the last video. Right, straight into example 1, let's use the rule y equal to x squared plus 2 to draw a parabola graph. I've set up a table, and my x values I'm going to go from -2 through to +2, and I'm going to calculate my y values. Now to do that, I'm going to use a calculator, and I'm going to go for each x value, I'm going to go the x value squared plus 2 more. Now when I do a negative number like -2, I'm going to go bracket -2 close bracket squared plus 2. That will give you 6. When you put -1 in, you'll get 3. When you put 0, 1 or 2 in, you don't need to use brackets because they're not negative numbers. So you will get the values of 2 for 0, 3 for 1, and 6 for the x value of 2. Right, now we've got our table set up, we're ready to go in terms of plotting points. So let's plot the points. -2, 6, -1, 3, 0, 2, 1, 3, and 2, 6. Now you'll notice it's not a straight line graph. We did those for quite a few videos before, but this is a parabola, so you don't need a ruler. So you need to draw a curve that goes through all those points the best you can. And when you get to the bottom, the vertex, make sure your curve comes down and levels off to get to a flat gradient, and then it increases and goes back up again. So there's the parabola for y equal to x squared plus 2. Right, let's move on to example 2. Use the rule y equal to 2x squared to draw a parabola graph. So here's my table once again. Again, I'm picking from x to -2 to +2. In a test, you may have different x values to use, but if you haven't given any x values, you have to choose certain x values to use. Right, let's put these into my calculator. Now for this rule, it is 2 times x squared. So it's 2 times whatever x is all squared. Just remember when we're doing negative numbers like -2 and -1, we're going to use brackets. So you're going to go, when you put in -2, you're going to go 2 times bracket -2 close bracket and then square it. Same with -1, but when you do 0, 1 and 2, you don't need to use brackets because they are not negative. Right, so the y values that I get are 8, 2, 0, 2, and 8 again. So once again, let's plot our points. Here we go. -2, 8, -1, 2, 0, 0, that's the origin, 1, 2, and 2, 8. And once again, you go to draw it, a nice smooth curve, the best you can through all the points. You'll get a parabola that looks like this. Right, the last example for the video is this. We're going to use a rule to draw the graph of y equal to -x squared. Right, so here's our table once again, and I'll once again pick the x values from -2 to +2. And here are my y values. Now you've got to be a bit careful here. The rule is -x squared. Now once again, when you use negative numbers and you square them, use powers, I like to use brackets. So this is how I do negative. When x is -2, this is what I do. I go negative bracket -2 close bracket squared. And what that does with bed mass, it does the brackets first and powers second, and it goes -2 times -2, which is +4, and then the negative out the front makes it negative again. So the answer is -4. You do the same for -1, you get -1. When x is 0, you should get 0. And when x is 1, you should get -1. When x is 2, you should get -4. So here we go, plotting points one last time. -2, -4, -1, -1, 0, 0, 1 across and down 1, and 2 across and down 4. There are the points we've created, and this is what the parabola looks like. Notice it's an upside down parabola. That's because of that negative sign out the front of the x squared. Right, that's our video. So thanks heaps for tuning in and watching.